Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. So some recent Ripple partner news, guys. This from BITRUE XRP. Ripple customer Al Ansari Exchange, they and Dubai Economy are cooperating to facilitate BRL payment services. So this coming out just yesterday, Business Registration and Licensing, or the BRL sector of the Dubai Economy, has signed a strategic partnership with Al Ansari Exchange, the UAE-based foreign exchange and worldwide money transfer company, to facilitate the payment of fees for BRL services in an easy, quick, and convenient way at any of the Al Ansari Exchange branches across the United Arab Emirates. So big news here for Ripple partner Al Ansari. As per the agreement, Al Ansari Exchange will facilitate the payments for fees associated with issuance, modification, renewal, and cancellation of licenses, certificate issuance, as well as commercial permits and trade name issuance and other related services. Here's a quote, guys. Dubai Economy aims to provide an attractive economic environment for businesses by developing its business registration and licensing services. These include the issuance and renewal of commercial licenses, which contribute to the ease of starting and doing business in Dubai. This is in line with the government's directive to drive sustainable economic growth and open various fields of activity for entrepreneurs. So this is the other thing, right? Tearing down that old financial system and rebuilding sustainable economic growth. How are we going to have sustainable economic growth unless we have a new underlying system that, for example, will be able to help democratize payments? Ripple and XRP obviously in this game to do just that. So now the small players can finally compete with the big players when it comes to things like cross-border payments. It used to be, at least in the United States, that smaller banks would have to almost like rent out the facilities of the bigger banks to be able to perform cross-border payments for their clients, right? They would kind of borrow from their Nostro accounts, kind of use their services, and the bigger banks, the first-tier banks, would charge them a fee. Well, now we have Ripple and XRP. Of course, this is changing the landscape in the US, or at least the theory goes that it will once we have clarity for Ripple and XRP. But in other countries around the world, right, we still have not seen, in a lot of cases, these countries have not seen stable economic growth. And so, this is going to be the building block. RippleNet's going to be the building block to help this move forward. So great news there. Wanted to thank T-Holbetic for posting that. I also saw this, guys, from Michael at Val5 Links here on Twitter with regards to Coinbase now. Their executives have been slamming the crypto provision in the infrastructure bill. They give a list of suggestions to the lawmakers. Coinbase's global vice president of tax, Lawrence Zlatkin, is sharing his critique on an editorial response from Bloomberg that discusses the crypto provisions defined in the ongoing U.S. infrastructure bill. This is what Zlatkin said. He disagrees with the urgency of the drafting of the bill and its unexpected crypto tax provision. He believes the sudden proposal is unfair to a large number of U.S. citizens that own cryptocurrencies. Here is a quote. Today, around 60 million Americans own crypto, roughly 1/5 of the entire U.S. population. So you got to put that into perspective here, guys. 1/5, so 1 out of every 5 Americans, on average, own cryptocurrency now. Those Americans and the entire crypto ecosystem deserve more dialogue than midnight provisions inserted at the last minute. The original infrastructure bill imposes strict requirements on crypto exchanges and other entities to disclose transactions to the IRS. As we know, Zlatkin argues that placing these requirements on crypto participants will stifle innovation in an emerging sector. So a lot of this is about not stifling innovation. The crypto proponents obviously want to see fair rules because government, they have a way to kind of react. Government is never proactive. Government is always just kind of reacting, which is problematic because they're the ones that ultimately make the rules. And so, in an emerging industry, when we're seeing it kind of moving at lightning speed, there should be people in government who are able to keep up with this, and apparently there are not. Zlatkin continues by saying tax policy should be thoughtful and deliberate. Broad overreach is a regulatory mistake. This will harm innovation and stifle the potential of a hugely important technology at its earliest stages of development. There was also that contested term, right? The broker in the original bill. Well, Zlatkin agrees and further suggests that lawmakers could clearly redefine broker to include more practical entities who operate as middlemen for compassion between consumers, such as Coinbase. If Congress decides that it must create a new definition of broker within the infrastructure bill for digital assets, then it should define brokers as persons who act as middlemen for compensation with customers as counterparties. This is a traditional definition of broker and would cover entities like Coinbase. So So interesting to see. I mean, I'm not surprised, but it is great to see people like executives at Coinbase. We need bigger players in the space in the U.S. speaking out against this, and Lawrence Zlatkin, just one who is now doing so. Wanted to thank Michael at Val5 Links for posting that. Another one here, guys, from Michael with regards to that infrastructure bill. So just kind of continuing with this theme, the House of Representatives will vote on the controversial infrastructure bill without amendments to its cryptocurrency provisions by September 27th. The controversial $1 trillion infrastructure bill will see a vote. The vote was agreed to after the House narrowly approved the Democrats' $3.5 trillion budget blueprint in a vote of 220 to 212. Despite some initial pushback from moderate Democrats, the dissident voters were swayed after House Speaker Nancy Pelosi committed to pass the bill before September 27th, and Nancy Pelosi said, "I am committing to pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill by September 27th. I do so with a commitment to rally House Democratic support for its passage." In late July, last-minute cryptocurrency provisions were added to the infrastructure bill in a bid to raise a further $28 billion through expanded tax obligations for the crypto sector. However, the loose language contained in the bill sent shockwaves across the crypto community, and analysts believe it will impose stringent third-party reporting requirements on network validators and software developers who would be unable to comply with the newly mandated obligations. Still being contested, of course. This bill will see a vote on September 27th, so mark your calendars. And I also wanted to mention this tweet here, guys, from Digital Asset Buy here on Twitter with regards to the former SEC chair, Robert Jackson. Now, it's interesting. Digital Asset Investor has posted a few tweets from this guy with a few clips of what he was talking about at that time, 2018, 2019, what he was talking about with regards to ICOs, cryptocurrency adoption as a whole, and how the SEC sees their role in regulating cryptocurrencies. So just to give you guys a little bit of background, first, Commissioner Robert Jackson, of course, he was appointed by Donald Trump to the U.S. SEC, unanimously confirmed by the Senate, and served as commissioner from January 2018 to February 2020. Commissioner Jackson was an outspoken advocate for protecting investors, consistently calling for more transparency in capital markets and championing evidence-driven policymaking. He challenged Silicon Valley insiders on whether dual-class stock allowing intergenerational transfer of corporate control gave executives too little accountability, leading major investors to call for limits on the practice. He worked tirelessly to prevent public companies from forcing investors to give up their right to sue. His efforts to update insider trading laws helped produce legislation with broad bipartisan support, and his research led to legislation to stop executives from trading before the public announcement of key events. So, just to give you guys a little bit of background here, I'm not going to read all of this. We'll link it in the description. Interesting to note, he was the SEC chair from January 2018 to February of 2020, at which point Jay Clayton stepped up, and then Jay Clayton stepped down, as we all know, December of that same year. So he was not in the position for longer than a year, but Robert J. Jackson Jr. was indeed the man at the top before that. He was the man at the top when William Hinman gave his speech in 2018 about Ethereum. And here's what he had to say, guys, back in November of 2019. Listen to this.
Now, just to be clear, the ICO space in particular, I think we had a very significant period where that product was being used in a way that wasn't consistent with the law. Of all the many things that I'm proud to have worked with Jay Clayton on, I am most proud of what the team did to get out ahead of the ICO issue, to be clear that we were going to be forceful about the limits of the law. I think that was difficult as a matter of leadership for Jay to do it. I think it was the right thing to do. I think the team that he put in place did it just right, and I'm very proud of it. Now that we've gotten past that part, people are asking the very logical next set of questions, which is, okay, now I know what not to do. Help me understand how to do this right. And we're working on it. Hinman gave his speech. Val is meeting with people 5 days a week. We're really working on moving that conversation forward.
Okay, so now we know what not to do, but what do we do to get it right? The former SEC chair is asking the same question that everybody else in the crypto sphere is asking, yet the SEC under Gary Gensler today still not giving that clarity. And, I get it. I get it to a degree, because if you watch some of these clips, you do understand how fast this industry is moving. And so, again, government reactionary, not proactive in this. My thoughts? Well, maybe government should actually hire somebody as a chair of the SEC who has experience in the crypto space. And I'm not talking about a Gary Gensler who theoretically talks about projects and gives MIT lectures. I'm talking about somebody on the ground floor, somebody who actually understands the speed at which this moves. Maybe somebody like Brian Brooks. I don't know. I mean, I'm just spitballing here. Brian Brooks does seem like quite an intelligent guy when it comes to this. But anyway, back in 2019, Robert Jackson Jr. talked about the William Hinman speech, talked about how him and Jay Clayton have, put the kibosh on ICO, so to speak, and they know what not to do, but he even says it. How do we move forward with this? We know what not to do, but what do we do next? Anders L down here saying, seems like the SEC's main mission nowadays is to make sure the US loses the leadership position in this technology race with blockchain and DLT. Couldn't agree more. Exillionaire down here saying it's clear that either China or Russia is in total control of the US government. And guys, I just did a video yesterday talking about, or rather discussing, a possible link between the Russian government, the SEC, Jay Clayton, William Hinman, choosing Bitcoin, Ethereum, kiboshing XRP. If you guys didn't catch that, I will link it up here. Found some really interesting stuff with regards to that. XRP Army News down here saying, not buying it, you can't BS a BSer. See right through this simpleton and his cheap suit. Mr. BXRP saying, sounds like it was an official speech to me. So, despite the fact that William Hinman in his deposition says, well, that was just my opinion, that wasn't the official views of the SEC, we do know that the SEC did have official views on this. William Hinman's speech did obviously play a part in all this. And the other thing I also wanted to mention, guys, was this from Stéphane Hubert. And Grayscale, we know that when the SEC lawsuit did come down, Grayscale did have to dissolve their XRP trust. But let me remind you guys, so Grayscale has been allowed by the SEC to run and sell an XRP trust for years. This was done using the exact same form and exact same information as Ethereum. Can someone explain to me how this should be possible when the SEC says that XRP, unlike Ethereum, is an illegal security? And so just to his point here, the XRP Grayscale Trust, okay, right over here, the exact same information within the last 5 years. It is a business trust. So he highlights all this information here just to make it easier for us to understand. Declined to disclose the aggregate net asset value range, and it was implemented down here under Rule 506C. Let's take a look at Ethereum for comparison. Same thing here, Grayscale Ethereum Trust. Within the last 5 years, it was a business trust, as you guys can see over here on the right. And then down here, declined to disclose what the aggregate net asset value range is, again, under Rule 506C. So basically identical carbon copies of one another, the XRP Trust, the Ethereum Trust, through Grayscale. At this time, again, this was before the SEC lawsuit, so Grayscale had no idea that Ripple and XRP would be in court fighting a lawsuit against the SEC. And I mean, quite frankly, why would they? These documents were filed through the United States Security and Exchange Commission. This is their Form D. So they put this through the SEC. The SEC approved the Grayscale XRP Trust, yet turns around, sues Ripple, and by extension, scrutinizing XRP. Not Ethereum, XRP. But some positive news here. I just wanted to mention this, a statement from the Nexo team posted by Enigma here on Twitter. And this has to do with XRP and XRP-related products as the XRP case drags on with no clear resolution in sight, but also no indication that other countries will follow in the footsteps of the SEC. Nexo says they are reinstating our full range of XRP services in all the jurisdictions in which we operate, with the exception of the United States, of course. We are eagerly awaiting legal clarity regarding XRP's regulatory status in the US, and will keep a close eye on how the SEC lawsuit unfolds. So boom, Nexo taking a bold step, relisting XRP in other jurisdictions around the world. I guess out of sheer caution, they wanted to, or felt it was necessary to delist XRP temporarily, but they're seeing, look, there is so much potential for XRP and XRP products in other countries around the world. Of course, we still have to halt XRP operations in the United States, but the rest of the world, open game. Bold move. I think it's a smart move. A lot of money to be made there, but that's just my opinion. I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.